Hi guys, from this month's BBC Good Food magazine, I chose a beautiful Mexican take on a Christmas classic, this Mexican prawn cocktail. It's really easy and delicious, and it can be made in advance too, which is incredibly handy if you're hoping to do this as a starter on Christmas Day. So start off with the sauce, which binds everything together by measuring out 275 milliliters of tomato juice or tomato passata. Now I'm using my NutriBullet to blitz everything up, but if you're using a food processor or a regular blender, just transfer it to that instead. Then add 4 tablespoons of olive oil, and I would recommend extra virgin here. Next, take 1 lime and add the juice of it. I'm using my fancy lime juicer here because it's really good and I actually rarely get to use it in winter. Now just take 2 cloves of garlic. This one's really nice and fat, so I know I'm getting my money's worth here. And just peel them and add them into the cup for your blender or whatever. Next, take half a red onion and peel it and coarsely chop it before you add it to the blender as well. Now add 2 teaspoons of chili sauce. There are 3 options given in the recipe, but the only one that I can actually pronounce is Tabasco, and luckily enough I added in the press, so I'm using 2 teaspoons of Tabasco. Then 1 teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. I'd like to point out that I'm using Goodall's here, which is vegetarian, which doesn't really matter so much for this recipe because of the prawns to come, but for any other recipe like mac and cheese, which requires Worcestershire sauce, Goodall's is vegetarian. Now the recipe calls for 2 heaped tablespoons of chipotles and adobo sauce. I'm using pickled chipotles, which are really similar, but I'm just going to use 2 chilies, which is probably less than the recommended 2 tablespoons, just because I can't really handle chili heat all that well, and you really don't want to be serving guests something that is insatiably hot. Then I just screwed the blade onto the cup and sat it into my NutriBullet motor and blitzed up until it was all really nice and smooth. Now, if you're making this sauce in advance, this can sit happily in the fridge for a day or 2 maybe until you're ready to serve. Now the recipe just calls for totopos or tortilla chips, and it doesn't say how many, so I'm going to take 1 flour tortilla and divide it up into 8 segments for 4 people, but be sure to make more if you like. Then take a baking sheet and lay all the segments flat on it. I think probably corn tortillas would be better than flour here, but whatever you have is perfect. And brush both sides of each segment with a little bit of olive oil. Then transfer it to a medium oven for about 10 to 15 minutes or until they start to go golden. Then take 2 tomatoes and quarter them and remove the watery, seedy, fleshy kind of core. That's only going to dilute all the flavour. Then go ahead and chop them up into small dice. Then add them to a bowl and set aside until later. Then take 2 fresh avocados, cut them in half, remove the stone and dice them up. If you're going to dice them up by cutting into your hand like this, just make sure you're very careful not to impale yourself. Then scoop out the avocado dice into a bowl. Once both avocados are diced, then squeeze over the juice from 1 lime. I know I love using my lime juicer, but at this stage I had already washed it, so I'm just going to squeeze these limes by hand. Then give the avocado a quick stir in the lime juice and set them aside until later. At this stage my tortilla chips were looking sufficiently brown, so I took them out and set them aside to cool. Then I took 1 little gem lettuce. The recipe calls for shredding this, but to me that just means thinly slicing, so that's what I did. Then I discarded the bitter core, even though everyone on the internet these days seems to be replanting these and growing more lettuce from it. You can give that a go yourself if you like, but I just threw it away. Now just set all the chopped lettuce aside until right before serving. Now take a good handful of coriander and chop it up pretty finely before adding it to a large mixing bowl, along with the diced tomatoes, the limey avocados. Then add 375 grams of medium prawns, cooked, peeled and deveined. These are just shop bought. Then take the sauce out of the fridge, which I should have seasoned earlier, but seeing as I forgot, I'll just do it now and add 1/4 of a teaspoon of sea salt flakes and 8 grains of black pepper. Then stir that in before you pour it over the prawns, avocado and tomato. Mix everything up really well until everything is nice and coated in the sauce. Then wipe the surface down and plate up. I'm using my martini glasses because I actually just don't use them enough, but you can use whatever glass you have handy. Tumblers are fine for this. Now spoon the spicy prawn mixture over each glass and make sure to be generous here as well. There's nothing worse than ordering a prawn dish and getting no prawns at all, so just make sure that everyone has a nice number of prawns. And a nice flat leaf parsley to garnish. Thanks a million for watching, guys. I hope you liked this video. If you did, be sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons below. You can check me out on social media if you like. You'll find all the links to my accounts in the description, as well as the link to my blog where you'll find this full recipe at www.rookiecook.org.